Deepak, thank you for keeping the camera on. I would,
Hey,
yeah, it'll be
hey
great
Sandeep,
if,
very good morning.
hi, it'll be great if you guys all can keep your cameras on. Yes.
Hi,
Thank you,
Sandeep.
Pranita. Thank you, Pankti. Thank you, Subodh. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Divij. Keep your cameras on. It is better to keep the cameras on. Yeah, it gives me good energy. Okay. Even though it's very late here, but okay. So what's happening with this? I'll try again. I'm just trying to join from my iPad also, so that it okay. All right, let me log in. Perfect, perfect. Everyone, keep your questions ready. I'm going to go super basic. I'll start from something very simple. That does not mean that if you have a question that is super simple or super hard, you should not ask. Okay. And the onus is on me that whether the question is very hard or question is very easy, I'll make sure that everybody is on the same page. Okay. So yes, I'll try my best. And yes, I think though these are the extreme times where I get a very basic question on maths and I get a very complex question on deep neural networks, and my role is to answer hardest question and easiest question to all the audience, and I'll try my best. Okay, perfect, perfect. All right, and just an update to all of you. After talking to quite a few people in the batch, I have realized that the approach that I'm taking with respect to starting from basics of Python is something that is going to be very helpful for everyone. Okay, because again and again, what I'm seeing with everybody is that people are struggling with coding things in Python. Okay, so what we will do as part of this course is almost every algorithm, we would know how to code it. And even if you have never coded before, I can guarantee that you'll be able to code it. Okay, so yeah, that'll be the idea. That will solve all the three things. Number one, that will make you learn Python and think like a engineer. You'll be able to solve the coding questions. It will make you understand the maths. It will make you understand the algorithms. And though it may sound super simple, but at the same time, it'll be super complex. And yeah, basically, that will be my first principle approach. So that's keeping that in mind, let's move. Perfect. Perfect. So far, my expectation is that you must have gone through the Linux tutorial, and I had given you a system to design number system. I'm very happy that some of you have actually sent me your code. I'm very happy that you wrote it, and I would like to walk through it. And because like just like number system, right? Though we learned counting in childhood, but counting is fairly difficult in a new number system, right? So it's, and the same thing is going to be like when you do differential calculus. Like I have mathematicians in my class in my previous batch. Okay, for them, like they thought that they knew very well what's a calculus. Okay. And when I asked them to code a function to differentiate another function, do the calculus using code, that's when they realize that they do not know anything. Okay. And so that makes everybody on the same page. Those who are good with numbers, those who are not good with numbers. If you try creating your own number system, you realize that you know nothing about number system, including myself. Okay, good, good. And very good, very good. And yeah, I I hope your friend, your spouse don't laugh at the class because you're learning counting in your class. Uh, it was the hardest thing for me, you know, because when you think about the base 64 other algorithm, you realize that, oh, it's like this. Okay. Like for example, suddenly you see the IP, the number on your computer. It used to be a number, normal number, and suddenly you see the digits like which are not number representing IP address, and you say, oh, what kind of number is this now? And this is where the understanding of number system, creating your own number system comes into play, right? Like IP version v4 versus IPv6, you see the difference between the numbering system, and that's the essence of it. Now, let me, I'll just pause my screen for a moment and then go through one of the very good, has anybody else, like I got one email where the person has, the created the number system and has emailed me the solution. I'll just open the results.
So,
Okay.
Sandeep, when you say created a number system, you mean written the program? Like we are supposed to write the program
No,
for
no,
that, or
no,
just on the
pen and
hand?
pen.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Pen and paper, not like code. Code we'll do slowly. We'll do slowly, and we'll reach there. Okay. And yeah, this is good. And where is, yes, create a number system. I think Subodh has done it. All right. And you've shared it with me, right?
Yep. Do you want me to share that again?
I think you show from your screen. That'll be better. Okay. That way you can walk me. I'll just stop sharing my screen and you can, if anybody else has done, please share your screen and would love to see. Okay. This is good stuff, and please go ahead. I'll unshare my screen, Subodh, you can go ahead.
Sure. Give me a sec. I'll have to
Good,
start
good,
my.
good. And yeah, I'm thinking that even if you guys have not finished Linux, it's okay to move to Python, and you will learn Linux on the way, don't worry. Okay. And we will focus more and more, starting from basics of Python into a little more complex to in Python. Um, our agenda with respect to Python is not going to be like memorize every syntax, memorize all the functions. Our agenda is going to be, can we translate a thought into code? Okay. Right. We won't be doing like a Rapidex English speaking course, okay, where you have to memorize the dictionary, memorize the keyword. No. Instead, we will focus more and more on converting thought into code, right? How do you remember that we did, I think almost everybody would know how to solve two variable equations, like x plus y is 10, x minus y is 20. So how much is x, how much is y,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So we will code it up. We'll code it up, and we'll code it up to make sure that we can solve any number of equations, x, y, g, x, y, g, u, and all of that. Okay. Now, and also you will realize for the first time that, oh, those equations are pretty useful in general, and we'll work on them. Okay. So that will teach all of us to think into coding. And yeah, please go ahead, Subodh. You want to share? Where did you go? Anybody else wants to do? Anybody else worked on the number system? Okay. All right. All right. Please feel free to. Okay, good. All right. So the question somebody asked, like, what exactly was the problem statement? So problem statement was create your own number system. Usual number system that we have is called a decimal number system, which has total 10 symbols: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right? And people believe that we chose the decimal number system because we have total 10 fingers in the hand. but there are many different, cults in the past. There were Pythagorean cult, which believed in 10 numbers, and there were multiple churches who had a different number system, and then kind of one number system just went. So it's like mostly random, but people believe that's because of 10 fingers. Now, coming back to the number system. So number system, the idea is you choose, say 14 numbers, the way Subodh has taken. So basically the 14 base means you have 14 total symbol. So he has taken 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, R, O, C, X. Okay, these are the 4 symbol he has taken. Okay, now now the in this after so 14 is represented, 14 in decimal is represented as 10, correct? 10 is 14, 13 is X. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, then R, O, C, X, and then 1011. So that's the next number. Okay, 1011, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and keep going. Perfect. So this is the total number of systems. So how many? 13 times 13, right? No, how many? This must be, yeah. So this is the counting in his number system, the one that he had chosen. Okay. So instead of taking A, B, C, D, the way usually people take, he has chosen R, O, C, X. Okay. Imagine that he has a keypad which can only type these 4 digits. Okay. So what kind of number system would it have that would basically utilize everything? Okay. Now let's move ahead. So 5 plus 5 is R, and 7 plus 4 is O. Okay. Interesting. I'll have to go back and look up. Okay. This is good.
So yeah,
R
so
plus 1 is
5.
O.
If
Yeah.
you see this, yeah, if you see this 5 plus 5. So after 5 you count 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, which goes to 10, which is R. So
Yes.
10 is R, and
Yes.
then 7 plus 4 is 11, 11 is O, and so on.
Yes. Yes. All right. Perfect. So
S-
it reminds me of a very interesting thing, Subodh. I'll tell you this story. I think it'll be something inspiring for everyone. So long back in a class, the professor named John von Neumann, very big professor in computer science, he asked his students that, do you guys want to appear for exam, or do you guys want to write a paper? Okay. So one of the students said he wants to write a paper. Okay. And this student's name was Claude Shannon. Okay. And Claude Shannon, um, so John von Neumann, the professor, asked him that, okay, here is my information. I have to transmit this information to another place. What is the minimum number of bits that you require to transmit any information? Okay. And design that algorithm. That's like 4-year project given to him, Claude Shannon. Okay. And Claude Shannon worked on that and came up with a full new branch of computing and maths. It's called information theory. And he said that to transmit X amount of information, you need logarithm of X number of bits to transmit. Okay. And that became one of the biggest breakthroughs in information transmission. So I think work with me, as I said, the way Subodh has worked with me to at least build this. And I think this is how magic happened in my other classes as well. Some of the students have done wonderful. One of them have built the entire of, looking at the X-ray, he can predict whether the person has COVID or normal other disease, and his accuracy is better than anything else. He is publishing his paper. Okay, so similarly, work with me, just like Claude came out of class. Similarly, many innovation and invention happened during this. Also, my suggestion is that even if you do PhD, masters, or graduation, aim for writing at least one paper. Okay, publishing a paper or a project. The reason I'm saying is that if you are really interested and inclined to build things or inclined to do a bit of research, papers are very, very, very powerful today. Okay, when you publish a paper and when you have a significant amount of research published online, you get visa for every country. Okay, this is a little less known thing that people do not know this part. Okay, so if you have something published, it's not the PhD, it's not your master's, it's not anything else, it is your published papers. Okay, so yeah, so when you're working, and do not undermine any of the problem statement, do not undermine the assignment, work with me. And yeah, cool. So this is good. So you have added one digit. Okay. And then you had example 2r plus 10, r plus o. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Now you wrote the tables. Okay. My question to you is,
Yeah.
okay, wait. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, ROCX. Perfect. Perfect. 2. Perfect. Perfect. Yes. Perfect. Perfect. Now you understand why memorizing table up to 9 is sufficient, right? Now you understand that why it's uh, sufficient. Like I was made to memorize the table up to 25 in the childhood, and later I realized it was of no use. Okay, but again, I mean, yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
This is so you have done
One.
whatever is your base, whatever is your base. So 14 cross 14, right? 1, 2, 3,
Yes.
14 cross. Perfect. Perfect. So yeah, yeah. Like in 10 base, you have 10 cross 10. Here is 14 cross 14. Perfect. And there we go. Now multiplication of single digit. Okay, that you can do now very quickly by looking at the tables. Okay, multiplying 1r by 1c. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, perfect. Very good. Very impressive. Okay. And from base 14 to base 16. Okay, you figured that out. Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
I mean, this is the eighth part is basically standard for any numbering system.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
it's, I mean, I can't take credit for eight. It is standard. I mean, if you make any base numbering system 14, 15, 16, right, the answer is going to be the same. So
Yeah. But
it's,
you understand the reason behind the
yeah,
formula, right?
yes, yes, yes.
Because every 14, you're shifting one line.
Yeah.
Okay. And perfect. Given a base 10 and number n to convert this, initialize an empty array. Perfect. Perfect. Very, very impressive. Very, very impressive. And yes, there we go. Awesome. Awesome. And okay. Okay. The powers in your, now you can design the powers in your number system like 14 square. R square is how much? ROCX square is how
Yes.
much?
Yeah.
2R square is how much? Yeah. And good, good, very good. All right, all right. I hope everybody got an assignment. Even if you could not do last time, feel free to do it this week. Okay. My honest request is work on it. This is extremely important. Maybe the eighth one, the point number 8, where you come up with the, the conversion formula. Okay. Maybe you don't do that one. It's okay. But rest of it, do it. But what I would want is that look at the number system and see what's happening. So when you are moving, what's happening is in case of like decimal number system, every digit, what you do is multiply each digit by 10 and add to the next one, correct? You basically, if you have, let's say, right? So let's say, why it's not popping up? Oh, because you are sharing your screen, right?
Yeah, I can stop sharing.
Oh, why is, okay, it's not letting me. I'll just make my iPad as one of the organizers, okay? And okay, all right, all right. Yeah. So perfect, very good, very impressive. And uh, I think Subodh, it will be great if you can share this with the entire class. Just share the link in the WhatsApp group. It's completely okay. This is very, very impressive. Probably it'll help others to design their own number system. Just if you're copying his work, just don't choose base 14, just choose your own number. Even if you're going for base 14, just choose some other digits. Okay? Instead of ROCX, just draw a star or draw some other symbol and make the number system with those symbols. Okay. And yeah. All right. Why is not letting me type scribble using my iPad? I have made a co-host. Okay. Am I not a co-host or something? Oh, my pencil is not working. Okay. Yeah. No, it's working. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. So here I'll just walk you through the simple things. Perfect. And let me close. Okay, don't judge me from my emails. Okay. Okay. So if you're going for your own number system, you might want to do take up like symbols, right? Like this is one symbol, this is one symbol, this is another symbol, and this is another symbol. And you can try creating a number system, okay? In that number system. I mean, it'll be fun and it'll look like a cryptic that you're creating your own language. It's a fun thing to do. And yeah, it'll force you to think about why is there a multiplication, and like for example when I was teaching my kid how to multiply, um even though I think of myself as a good mathematician, but I realized that okay, I did not know much of multiplication, I'll be honest with you. So I realized that when I was teaching multiplication, what was happening is that I have memorized the process, and basically the kid is small and I don't need to teach him. So I gave him the calculator first, and I told him that, you know, let's count these holes in a rectangular grid manually. Okay. So he got tired of counting because there were too many holes. And then I said that why don't you pick the calculator and count the number of rows, count the number of columns, multiply them. Are both the same? And he was surprised. Oh, multiplication is pretty cool tool to actually count quickly. And then I asked him to count more number of such things quickly without counting. So he learned that, okay, with multiplication, we can count without counting. And for that, he just used the calculator. My wife was against using the calculator. And then I asked her that, can you multiply a hexadecimal number? If you understand what it means by multiplication and you have learned really well, can you do that? Then she realized that, yeah, she had just memorized the mechanics to multiply, but she hasn't really learned. So then it's completely okay to just use a calculator to do the multiplication. But what is important on our part is understanding the meaning of multiplication. Multiplication is, right, the area of, if you have these many rows, these many columns. If you multiply rows with columns, you get total number of cells, right? And similarly, how many combinations can you generate if you have, um, let's say, you have four digit number where each digit is having 14 characters. So how many numbers can you generate uniquely? Okay, so it'll be, this can go 14, this can go 14, this can go 14, this can go 14. So total number of things are 14 to the power 4. So understanding that multiplication helps you counting quickly. Okay, so even though the ideas are simple, but it takes a bit of time to realize that the multiplication is a very, very interesting idea. Now, coming back to this one. Yeah. So any questions on Linux, or has anybody tried Linux so far? Please raise your hand if you have tried. Please raise your hand if you have tried Linux so far. Okay. 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 4 people.
So I did try half, some part of it. I
Okay.
got to your lecture late yesterday evening, Sandeep.
Okay.
So
Okay.
after that, I was
Okay.
trying it. But I know, obviously, being a computer science graduate, I know Linux and all. I did it some
Perfect.
2 decades back.
Perfect. 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 All right. Okay. Okay. Perfect. All right. And uh,
Like, I didn't get a chance to, attempt these questions, but I cannot find this list of assignments in CloudX. So,
yeah. I think I have to inform my team to keep uploading these assignments, or I'll myself do it. I think I myself will start doing it. Okay. Mm-hmm.
So, and Sandeep, just one quick question. So, when you say that have you attempted the Linux, so I assume you were saying that we have to go through all the 107, whatever those items are in the
No,
Linux
no, no,
overview
not really.
basics.
No, not really. Not really. All I want is that you should be comfortable with typing commands. Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's
Okay.
all. The two things that I expect you to do. There are basically in Linux, essentially the idea is simple. Those who are pretty new to Linux, okay, I'll just, okay, all right, all right. Let me pick the notes and then answer. So yeah, in case of Linux, the idea is extremely simple. What you do is basically very, very simple idea. Okay. The thing is, they in why it's important to learn Linux, because that's how you command the computer. Okay. And I mean, no matter what you do, you basically um, would end up here. For example, even if you are a data scientist who is only busy using, say, Python 3, okay, and who is only using this notebook, okay, this is called a notebook, and here you write your Python. So the way you launch Python, if you go here, click on new and select Python 3, and that will launch a notebook. Here you can type your code 1+2 and press Shift Enter. That's how you run your Python code. Okay, this is one way. I will talk about more about the Python very soon. But before that, I was telling you about the Linux and the importance of the Linux. The Linux, basically anything you want to do on the computer, installing things, running a command, everything is launched via Linux command. And even here, you can put an exclamation and type a Linux command. Okay, it would show you the things here. Okay, now Linux is essentially bundle of commands to you. Like one of the command is ls. ls shows the list of files. Okay, ls shows the list of files. And basically, if you say ls space dash la, it shows the list of files in a broader list format, longer list format. You can see here, this is the permission of a file. This is the, I don't know what is this for, the first one. I think if it's a folder, how many directories are there, how many items are there in that folder is counted here. Okay. And here, this is my owner name, the name of this folder's owner. This is the name of the group of this folder. And this is the one. This is the size of this one. In case of, if it is a folder, you'll see D here. You see D, that means it's a folder. And if you see D here, you will see 4096. That's a common size of a directory. It doesn't mean that this is the size of all the files inside the directory. It is the usual space allocated to represent the folder. Okay, you'll see all the folders have the same directory size, same size. And this is the time, date and time modified. This is the name. So this way you can basically see all the files. For you, it will be empty most likely. Okay. So we learned a couple of things. Number one, here when we type ls, okay. All right. Yeah. So when you type ls, you see the list like this. If you say ls-l, you get longer list. Okay. If you say ls-la, okay, and I mean, you can make a note if you want. I will also make a note for you. Okay. And just so that you don't get, you don't feel lost. Okay. This is just to make sure the idea of a Linux is important. Okay. It's very, very important. And you need to get comfortable with the idea. Okay. So ls, ls-l, ls-la. Okay. And A means it will show the hidden files also. Hidden files are those which start with dot. Okay. And so now you can see PWD means your present working directory. Now in Linux, the present working directory means the directory is represented like with a opposite slash. Okay, just like the slash in the URL. Similarly, this one. In Linux, the story starts with a single root. Linux has a single guard, which is single root at the top level. Okay. Unlike Windows, Windows has C:, D:, E:, like that. In case of Linux, there is only one root called slash. Everything is below that. Okay. Like in this directory top level, there is a home directory under which there is this directory, and this is my directory. For you, the directory would be different. Okay. So either I can do cd home. Okay. I will go into this directory, or I can also say, right. So if I did cd/home, I reached /home. You can see this is my current working directory now. I can also say cd ... means go up one level. So you can see this ... means go up one level. Wherever you are, you will go up one level. Okay. So my present directory is that. If I say ls now, it will show the directories and files in the slash folder. Okay, these are the things that are common for all the users. Okay, and everybody's directory is inside home. Okay, like for example, somebody can post their login to me. I can check if I can access their. Can you post your login in the chat? Okay, so right, and I can just try checking home slash, let's say, Subodh. Okay, let's say this one. This is Subodh's directory. Okay, but it is permission denied to me because you are a separate user. All right, but everybody's directory would be there. So present working directory shows this one. If I want to go back to my home directory, I can say cd $home. That is the dollar. This dollar means the environment variable. Okay. $home means there is an environment variable name home, which has my home directory set for me. Okay. Or I can just, now if I do that, my present working directory is /home/Sandeep 9034. Okay. That's my home directory. I'm back to home the moment I said cd home, or I can just say cd and I would end up in the same directory. Okay, perfect. I hope this is clear. So we learned about cd cd slash, right? Then in Linux, there is another very important thing to know. There is a temp directory, okay, at the top level. If you go to cd slash, and then you see, okay, there are quite a few directories lying around here. There is one directory named, where is this one? etc. etc contains the configuration of the entire system, and the user, this USR contains all the program that have been installed in that user bin. And there is a var folder. You can see var folder. This contains all the logs and other things, okay, of a Linux system. This contains logs and other things. Now I'll go back up. Now cdtmp, this is a place where everybody can create their own files. Okay, people can create any files. Anybody can create files. One of the ways to create file is using touch. I am just using the touch command to do the file. So my current directory is /tmp. It is in the top level directory, and I have touched a file called xyg. Okay, now I can see what is there in xyg. There is already somebody has created XYZ directory. Let me check who is this. Oh, somebody has created in the temp folder. Never mind. I will go up and I'll say touch Sandeep Giri, and let's say 3rd May. Okay, so that's today's date. So this is the file that I have created. Okay, Sandeep Giri 3rd May. This is the file I've created. It had 0 bytes. There is nothing in it right now, but I can, use a command like nano and edit this file. Okay, nano is a way, just like Notepad you have on Windows, on Linux you have this text editor. So this is my text I'm writing into this, and I'm pressing Control X. I pressed Y, and there we go. And so what we see is we have saved the text here. Okay, perfect. And what you see is that I just created a simple file containing my text, but this is created in TMP. Now I realize, oh, I made a mistake. I was supposed to do it in my home directory. Why did I do it here? Okay, so what will I do? I will use a move command. So I talked about nano, I talked about cat, I talked about and then the cat command. And then I said, I'm going to use move. Move means move this file, the one that I just now created, Okay, in Unix or Linux, you don't need to create a surname, which is like dot extension or something. You can just create without any extension a file. So this is my file name, sandeepgiri_3 I have put a text called this is my text in this file. And now I am moving this to my home directory. Okay, to my home directory. Now, how would I do that? I can say $home. Okay. Now, when I go to my home directory, let me see if that file is there. Okay. Also, those who are wondering like how I'm able to type this fast, I'm pressing tab. I'm pressing tab to autocomplete. Okay. It is auto-completing the file names. All right. Now you can see this is there. This is existing and that's it. All right. So basically, one of the things that you have to be comfortable with is the relative. Okay. What I did, I said move command. Okay. The another very important idea you should be very clear about relative versus absolute path name. Okay. When I say cd dot 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 dot, and then I say TMP, that means I'm going up relative to my current working directory, up current working directory, and so on. This is an example of what? Relative path. Okay. Now, what is absolute path? Absolute path. Okay. CD/TMP. Okay. All right. All right. Now, absolute path is usually starts with slash. Okay. I'm directly going to /TMP rather than first going up, 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 and then going here. I'm just going directly there. Okay. It's like, when you are telling something that turn left, turn right, and all that, right? You are always telling him the direction with respect to their current orientation. Okay. But if you say, go towards the north and then go towards the south, that is absolute direction, right? That is independent of their current location. Similarly, in Unix or Linux, the absolute path is always the same, irrespective of their current working directory. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Now, open to questions. Anybody has any questions on Linux? Feel free to unmute if you
Hi,
are in.
sir.
Yeah.
Hi, sir. I just want to know what is the difference between tr command and the set command. Sometimes we use tr command and sometimes we can use set command, right? So
Okay. Perfect. All right. Let me see if there are any other questions. This question is a bit advanced, so I'll have to put a basic the work in progress. Okay. All right.
I
And
have one more question, sir.
okay.
I really didn't get the concept of that no hub and the screen command. If you can explain that.
Okay. I will also make a note of no hub versus screen command. Okay. And let me also see if there are any other questions. There's a post by Pranita. I'm very happy that you guys did. Okay. Interesting. All right. Good work. So 0, 1, all right. 0, 1, 2, 3, 7. Nice. Perfect. Okay. So do you need anything? Okay, yeah. Do you need to do this one for tables or up to here is sufficient? No, this is not table, this is counting. Okay, this is good. Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. Addition, subtraction, double digit, single digit, and carry over. Perfect. And tables.
Yeah.
And where are the multiplications? I don't see
Yes,
multiplications.
its tables are below. I'll do that today. I
Okay.
was planning to do even hexa.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
As you said, it gets tougher when we actually try to multiplicate. Didn't get enough time today morning to accommodate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice
Question
exercise.
from
Yeah.
good exercise. Good.
Yeah.
Good. 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 All right. I think anybody who has a kid of 15 years and above, they should do this exercise with their kid. And yes, it actually is a very, very important exercise. It might look like awkward that why we are doing it, but when you see the implications, it is pretty good, thing. And yeah, our question is, yes, all right. Okay. Now, this one, did you assign the task in the last class? Okay. I will basically from next time onwards, what will I do is I would put it in the LMS itself. Okay. I will put it in. Also, I'm just making notes to myself. This one is essentially. And okay. Now, yeah, let's move ahead. Let me also check if there are any other questions. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Question from Nista is that can you please tell me any source except from YouTube where I can study the number system from basics? Okay. So I think you don't need to go back to that. I think just follow like an example. I think it's all you need is just an example. And I think the notebook from Pranita or from Subodh should be sufficient for you to get started. Okay. All you do is, let's say, take some symbols like you have in decimal number, you have some symbols. And say, for example, let's say I come up with a number system of base let's say I come up with a number system of base 11. Okay, that's my number system. So I'll start with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then I want to say base 11. So I need 11 total symbols. So these are my total symbols. Now, after that, the way people represent it is that, okay, the next number will be 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 6, 1, 7, 1, 8, 1, 9, and 1, 8. Like that. Okay. So like that, you write down all the numbers and then learn to do additions. Like how much is 9 plus 1? 9 plus 1 is A. 9 plus 2 is how much? 9. 9 plus 2 is how much? A plus 1, which is this. And when you say, so that way you can learn to do one digit number, right? Now, once you know one digit number, then what you can do is, in this number system, let's say 19 plus 19, right? So 9 plus 9 is how much as per this number system? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 plus 9 is 17, correct? And then 1 is carryover. 1 plus 1 in number system is 2, and 2 plus 1 is 3. So 37. So we just added 2-digit numbers. So similarly, do the subtraction. Carryover philosophy remains the same. It's just the addition of digits become like that. And then write down the tables by adding again and again. Write down the tables in this number system. First, write down all the number system, then do a single digit, like single digit addition subtraction. Okay, single symbol addition subtraction. Then you do the tables. Okay, put down the tables and like that. Okay, that should be sufficient for you. Okay, you don't need to go anyway. Just put down the counting. Once you do the counting, rest of the things will become pretty simple. Okay, and what you do is, at any point of time you get stuck or confused, just drop a message in the WhatsApp group. Me or other fellow students would love to work with you in that. Okay, so usually my always a recommendation to everybody honestly is that be a teacher to somebody. I have done these classes for my own improvement, because every new class I make sure that it is better than the previous one. And I have probably taught for now 9 years while working my other engineering things. So how many years? 10 years. I'll complete 10 years of my teaching. Okay. So every time I have improved over myself. Okay. So I think be a teacher to somebody, help others. That way you essentially improve every day. Okay. So be proactive in the WhatsApp group. Try answering the question. And I'm anyway observing it. And in case you are answering it wrong or the answer is not correct, I would intervene. Don't worry. Okay. But I think it's a very good habit for everyone is to be a teacher to somebody. Okay. And yeah, it's a thing where when you explain your problem to somebody, it usually solves your problem. And when you teach somebody, it gives a lot of clarity to your thoughts. Okay, so yeah, so that's a thing for everyone. So in case somebody is asking a question and you know it, feel free to answer. Okay, and now let me go to the question. I hope I answered this question. And yeah, this I'll do. Okay. Yes, the CD is called change directory. That's correct. CD command means change directory. Change directory from my current working directory to some other. Okay. And now I will go with a little advanced question before going there. Is there any other? Okay. Good question. Question is, can we partition drives in Linux like Windows? Yes. Okay. So a very important part for everyone. In Windows, in Windows, you have C colon, D colon, E colon, right? C colon, D colon, E colon, like that. And they are like separate folders, right? Completely separate. They have nothing single. Okay. But in Linux, there is only one root slash. Okay. And under which there will be C colon somewhere. And the way you do it in Linux is that slash, there will be a folder called MNT, under which there will be C, D, like that. And they will be pointing to a drive. Okay, they'll be pointing to a drive. Now, another very, very interesting thing to know about Linux is that in Linux or in Unix, everything is a file. Everything is a file. Okay? Everything is a file. Okay? Be it a mouse, screen, what was that just now we were talking about? The external drive, everything is file or folder. Everything is file or folder. And that's how the Linux system works. everything is a file or folder. So if you see in case of CloudxLab, right? If you go to /mnt, okay, okay, or you just type mount. Mount shows, okay, and if there are multiple screens and there are multiple pages, you can say pipe, okay. You can say, okay, you can say mount by this and more, okay. So it's just showing the more page by page. So you see here it says there is one thing mounted from somewhere and so on. And I'll show you. Okay. Most important part. Okay. Like /home. Yes. If you see here, this /CXL data that you see, this contains the data. Okay. If you go to cd/, you see ls, you see CXL here, CXL data. Okay, it contains data. It might look like that it is this folder is created on this computer, but it's actually a remote folder that has been mounted on this folder. Okay, if you make changes to this, it just changes the network folder and so on. So in Linux, there is always one root and everything else is just mounted under it. Okay, somewhere, wherever you want, you can mount it. So that is an important part. And so you can, yeah, you can partition, you can do all of that with respect to the drives, just like you do it in Windows. So that's my answer to the question. All right.
Sandeep,
Okay.
one question
Yeah.
on that. Like, apart from mounting, as you said, like if I have different users login, so I can make profiles as well in Linux. And like if in Windows, if any new programs is we downloaded, goes by default to C drive. Likewise in Linux, I think it's user bin. So can we force new programs to be installed in any other drive like etc folder or log folder?
Yeah. So in case of as you'll study, right? You will study that in Linux or in Python, you can install things using pip. Okay, there is a thing called a pip. Okay, you using pip, you can install it. And then I will show you that part. I think that will make more sense. Okay, so new program installation is a function of where do you want to keep it. Okay, and like for example, I'll just give you a very simple rundown. This is today, this is my home directory. Okay, this is my home directory. Okay, and let's say today is 3rd May. Okay, I've created a folder called 3 May. Okay, let's say I am creating a program here. It's called Hello Python, hello.py. Okay, I am typing a command called nano. Nano is the text editor, and hello.py is going to be my file name. I entered, it opened a simple editor. Now I'm saying print 1 plus 2 plus 2. Okay, so I'll say Control X, Y, and enter, and it is here. Now to run this, I am doing this. So it has run the code and given me. Okay, now this program is kept in here. It is working fine. So you don't need to install the program per se. If you want a program to be executed by all the users on this computer, then you might have to put it at a place where everybody can access. Okay. And like, for example, user bin, I want everybody to use my program. So I will move my file at a place where everybody can access. And usually those programs are kept in this folder. You see, there are all these commands that you're seeing, ls and everything is here. Okay, in this folder, user bin folder. Okay, so usually what people do is they install the software and then create a link in this folder. Okay, you will see most of these commands are essentially a link. I'll talk about the link very soon. Okay, so now let's say you have put your files right in somewhere else. Okay, let's say, right, I will just show you, right, I will show you that you can execute without calling it with Python. You can say hash exclamation user bin Python. Okay, so here the first line is telling how to run this program. Okay, now after this, next thing you have to do is change its mode to executable. Okay, so what I did, I created a file using Nano. Then I basically, in the first line, I told how to run this program. And then I changed its permission to this one. Okay, now this can run fine. Okay, now the question is that I want to move it to a place that everybody can use. Okay, so what will I do? I will move this hello program to a place like user bin, and it can run from there. Or let's say I decide that, okay, all my softwares, everything, I will put in my home directory, let's say cd ... And inside this, I am going to create bin directory. And inside this bin directory, I'm going to keep all my files. Okay, so let me move that file from ... who will help me, 3May and hello to current directory. Dot means current directory. So I moved from 3rd May to this one. So this is my now I've just created a one folder in which I'm planning to keep all my binaries. Okay, now let's say I plan to put all my scripts and all my program into this folder, and I want to run when somebody says hello.py, it should just run, even no matter wherever I am. Okay, it should run. And how come it's running? Okay, I'll just delete this one. Okay, now is it still running? I'm just wondering how. Which path? Okay, okay, interesting. How it's running, I do not understand this. Okay, hello. Interesting. Which hello? Oh, I have already put this path in my home directory. Okay, so I have, if you take a look at my path, okay, now, basically, I want to do this, that whatever software I'm creating or bringing, my installation folder is going to be my home directory followed by bin. Okay, now whenever I'm typing a command, whenever I'm typing any command, what does the Linux do? It goes and checks a variable called path. First, it tries to find in the first value of this path, then second, then third, it goes, and finally, it found hello.py in this folder. Okay. All right. And that's how you can create your custom program installations. You can just create one folder, put all your programs there, and put the path variable, and that's it. Everything else is just streamlined. Okay, update the path variable so that the Linux can find where those things. Now, when we talk about Python, if you are creating your own environment, your own installation, there is something called virtual environment I'll talk about, which basically does a similar thing. It creates a path variable and so on. So we will create virtual environments, and inside virtual environments, we will be doing rest of the things. Okay. And so we will use those. I'll show you that you can install any software and then you can get started with it. So those kind of things we'll do very soon. Okay, remind me how to do it. I will talk about virtual env and pip very soon. Pip install. Perfect. Moving on. All right. Wonderful questions.
Just one thing. You said everything in Linux is file like mouse and screen. So what did you mean by that?
Okay, so everything that you see in Linux, every drive, every driver, everything is a file at the end of the day. Okay, like
It's
for
executable
example,
program, you want to say?
what?
Program. Executable program.
Executable program is a file, yes.
Okay. So I think Windows also the similar things should be there, executable program, how it will
Yes,
interact.
yes. So like for example, my screen is this file. Okay, if I write anything into this file, it will show up on my screen. So I'm just trying to write to this file. Okay, and how do you write to a file? By this. Okay, you see, this thing basically, when I wrote to it, it basically was displayed on my screen. So this
Okay.
is my screen. There is a file. There is a file that represents the screen of mine. And if I
Oh,
give you the permission to this file, you can write on my screen. Okay? If you
okay.
do execute this command, okay, and I say chmod and I give everybody permission to this. I'll just first check what are the permissions right now. Okay. So right now, nobody else has a permission to write it. Only myself, the owner of it, has. Okay, and okay, and so let's say chmod. Others can write this file. Okay, others can write this file. Now, if you run this command from console, you will be able to write on my screen. Okay.
So what
You
will
see?
happen if you write to mouse?
It'll corrupt the mouse most likely.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So network card is a file, everything is a file. So you can interact with all of these using the same commands like you can interact just like you interact with the file. See, somebody wrote already on my screen. Good. Who is this person? Yeah. All right. I'll just remove the permission, chmod, and there we go. Now you can't. Good. All right. All right. Okay.
Sandeep, what is the C representing? D is for directory, but C is for what? The
Which
initial
one?
C.
CD, right?
No, not CD. The permission, it is
Oh, this one.
CRW.
This C means like I think C. Good question. Good question. And I actually, as far as I know, C means some special, hardware. Okay. This is like
Okay.
if you see L means a link. If you see D means a directory, and if you see C, it means it's a device or something like that. Okay, and yeah, good. Yeah, thank you, Hemant. Hemant is saying C means a character driver device. Thank you. That's exactly I needed. All right. Yes. A question from Hemant is, can we use VI? Yes, please feel free to. I am pretty good with VI, but in the class, it takes a learning curve, so I wanted to avoid VI. Okay. VI is like an editor, just like Notepad, a little bit more complex. But I mean, there's a learning curve, but once you got comfortable, then everything is okay. All right. All right. So good questions. All right. There are a couple of questions left. I'll go slowly. and we'll talk about them. All right. Now, those who are still wondering, I will. Okay. Right. All right. My water bottle is left. Okay. All right. So this is the usual presentation for the Linux. I've already talked about these. I want to answer a couple of questions that are a little advanced. So I want to explain the basics, okay, for those who are new. So Linux is essentially everywhere. Linux is in your phone, in your car, in your fridge, in your watch. Android runs on Linux, and almost every decent OS that you'll see in the distributed devices would be Linux. Okay. Linux is essentially the program, the kernel, the shell, and there is a file system that I just described. It starts with slash, then there is slash tmp, slash home, slash etc. This is the top level directory. Inside this, there is a directory called tmp. There is another directory called home, etc. Inside home, there is a home directory for you, a home directory for John or other users. Inside home directory, you can create your own folder, you can create your own program, just like I did just now. And you can access the Linux console either using web console or using SSH client. There is something called SSH command on your computer, or putty on Windows. You can install something called a putty, P-U-T-T-Y, or putty, people call it. And here is a quick, I mean, this is anyway there in the course, so you don't have to worry. Now, these are the basic commands to talk to the system. So when you type who am I, it shows your login ID. Like, for example, if you go here, okay, I will take out this presentation to another tab so that I can switch between them too quickly. Okay, so when you go here and say, who am I? It tells me my name. You can also type ID. It tells me my numeric ID, my group ID, the groups that I'm part of. Okay. And user executes program. Angry Bird is a program. When a program is launched, it creates processes. Program or processes, the terms will be used interchangeably. Okay. Now, when basically the kernel, Linux kernel, handles the main work of operating system, allocating time, memory, and so on. Then a user interacts with kernel via shell. This is what we call a shell. This is the shell where I'm typing my command. So I'm interacting with it. Console, as opened in the previous slide, is the shell. The user writes instructions in the cell to execute commands. Okay, so I write things here to ask it to do things for me. Okay, and I just typed a command called pwd, which shows my present working directory. Now, shell is also a program that keeps asking you to type the name of other programs to run. Okay, these are the basic commands that we have talked about, and so on. Okay, now when you right, you can also do SSH. Then you can also do SSH and connect to this server. Okay. Now on Linux system, everything is a file. If something is not a file, it is a process. Process means when you double click on something on Windows, it basically loads the code inside that file into the memory. And it starts running, and that thing is called process. Okay, process is file is something that would remain there even when you reboot the system, but process will be cleared from the memory if you reboot the system. Okay, so file remains there on the disk, while process would not be there after some time. Okay, unless and until it is a long-running process. All right. So programs, services, text, images, and so forth are all files, input and output devices, and generally all devices are considered to be a file. Now this is all good. Okay. Not this one, not this one. Okay. Where is my, this is not what I was looking for. Just give me a moment. What? Don't tell me. Okay, never mind. I'll just do it right away. Okay. Now, one of the very, very, very important ideas are basically something called a filter. Okay. Something called a filter. And so what we just now saw was that when there was too much of text on the screen, what did we do? We wrote this command ls, and there was too much of text. So what we did? We said pipe and more. Okay. So when you see this command here, you see this vertical line. This is called a pipe. Okay. And this is one program. Okay. This is one program. This is another program. Okay. This is one program. This is another program. Okay. And this line that you see here, it's a pipe that you see just above your enter key. There is a pipe. There is a pipe thing. What's happening today with my... Okay. Yeah. So ls pipe more. ls is one program. Pipe is kind of a instruction whereby instead of printing ls output of ls command to the screen, it would send it to the more. Correct? So whenever we run a program, it takes input from you and it shows output to you. Correct? But when you do pipe, what happens? The output of ls goes as input to more. It becomes as if ls typed all its stuff into the more. When you run more command and you type things into it, you basically get that. Like, for example, I'll give you another example. Okay. Say here. Okay. Now, let's say I have a command called wc. What wc does, if I say something, this is my work, okay, and I press Control D means end of the input. So what I did, I type WC, that's word count. And then this command takes input from me. I typed some random input. Okay. And when I pressed Control D, what it did? It printed these things. What are these? Number of lines. There was 1 line in the input, and there were 4 words and 16 letters. Okay. So WC would basically count lines, words, and characters. Okay. So it has 2 lines, 8 words, and 37 characters. Fine. Now, we are inputting the text to WC, and it is displaying the result to us. Okay. And when we say ls, it is taking the input, it is not taking the input from us, anything, it's just printing the result to us. Okay. What happens when we send the output of ls to WC? This is called piping. We are piping the output of ls to WC. So it says that there are total 403 lines in the input, 473 words, and 6,245 characters in the output of ls, which means I have 403 files in this folder. If I go to bin, right, and then say ls pipe WC, what should be the outcome? How many lines are there in the output of ls? 1 line, 1 word, and 8 characters, 9 characters. 3 plus 2, 5 plus 3, and then there is a new line somewhere. Okay, so 9 characters. Are you guys clear about piping? Pipe basically joins 2 commands. Okay, both of these commands should be valid commands. The output of first one went to the second one. Everybody okay with this?
Sandeep, sir, ls is a list command, right, for a particular
Yes.
folder or file.
Yes. ls.
So how
Yes.
does that work? So ls, you are passing it to the hello.py file, right? So
Output of ls. What is the output of ls? Hello.py.
py,
Okay.
yep. So
Yes.
fun
And
yep.
if you like copy paste this output here, what happens?
Yep, 119, yep. So once word,
Yes.
one
word?
no,
Yeah.
one sentence and characters, yep. That's one.
Yeah. So output of ls, that was hello.py, went into WC. It did not take the as a program. It just took as a word called hello.py.
Okay.
Okay. Like for example, if you go somewhere else, somewhere that has less number of files. Okay. It has no files. Okay. If I say lswc here, it say 000. Okay. Now moving on, do I have some, okay, web. All right, I went into another folder web. It has only 1 file, and I say ls and wc. Okay. Now if I say ls-l, there are so many words, right? Now let's check what happens. So it says ls-l has 2 lines. This is first line and second line, right? That's what is WC. So whatever output of ls was there, we piped it to WC, ls-l and WC. So 2 lines, how many words? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 words, and then 97 characters total. Make sense to you now?
Yep.
So instead of printing in on my screen, it sent it to WC. Yes? Now, using this technique, you can do lots of things. You can do lots of things. There is a find and replace command here. It's called SED. What SED does? You can replace things from the input. Okay? Like, for example, here you want to replace, let's say, 0 with, let's say, underscore, like this. Okay, so it replaced 0 in the input with 2 underscores. So I said, whatever is the output of ls, I sent it to SED, and I said substitute 0 with this. Make sense? So 0 got replaced with 2 underscores.
What is G for at the end?
G means globally. If you don't do G, it will only replace once.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Once for every line. You see? Okay? Now, very important aspect that so using piping, we can do lots of wonders. Okay, like for example, here there are just too many files. Okay, I want to grab, right? So there is another command called grab. It will only list those lines where a particular keyword is found. Let's say I'm looking for Java. So it is only listing those files where Java was found. So I'm saying ls. ls gave full list. ls just generated full list of files in my home directory. And then what grab did was it only filtered those lines which contained a keyword like Java. So you see, so we earlier did SCD, then grab, correct? Are you guys with me?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. So this is called the filtering filters. Grep is one filter. What grep does? It filters those lines that contain a particular keyword. Okay. What SED did was it replaced one thing with another. Right now, there is something other thing called WC. Sorry, it's called TR. What TR
And
does? Mhm.
yeah, so, no, so I assume we can do like chain of filters as well, right?
Yes, very good point. Let me just do that. Okay. Let's say ls, and I'm saying grep, okay, Java, and then we can do WC. Okay, WC. You see, how many lines? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can basically keep on chaining it further and further and further. Okay. Now, okay, let's say I'm looking for capital Java. Nothing is there. Okay. There is another thing. Okay, let me just do Java for now. Yeah. So basically, this is place where we got Java. Okay. Somewhere we found it in the midway and all of that. We'll talk about that soon. Okay. Now comes very interesting aspect that you can use a TR command. You can say TR. TR is translating one character set to another character set. So I'm saying lowercase to uppercase. Okay, so it basically converted it into lowercase to uppercase. Got it? So whatever is the character range that you provide here, it translates the same thing to this character range. Okay, so there is a TR command, there is a grep command, there is SED command, and there is so many other commands that we talked about. They all are you know, they all are basically something that you can use to create really complex things. Okay, I am going to put all of this in the notes. Okay, till here. Today we did till here. All right. So instead of maintaining list like this, I just did everything. Okay, let me make it further cleaner.
And
So
how do we access the notes, Sandeep?
I'll share. Okay. So these are the commands. Okay. Now, these commands this piping specifically is very powerful. You can do so many things, right? You can do lots and lots of complex things. Okay. Like for example, there is, okay, word counts. Yeah. Let's say this is my file. It contains this text. Okay. I want to count the words in this one. Okay. Okay. I want to count the words in this one. So first of all, what I'll do, I'll make it like one word per line rather than this. How would I do? So cat command basically prints whatever is there in the file onto the screen. Okay. So what I'm going to do first is substitute SED. SED means substitute. Just like Control F you do, I am doing that on line by line. Okay. I'm saying substitute space slash and I'm saying this. So it converted the one line at a time into one word at a time. See that? Okay. Now, next thing I'm going to do is convert these capitals into lowercase. Okay. So I'm going to say translate capitals into lowercase. Okay. Also, one very important command I'll tell you. It's called man. If you say man, any command, it shows you that what each command does. Okay. So you can always say man tr. Okay. You can always say man tr. Now, so I translated uppercase case into lowercase. Happy? Now, there is another command that basically takes all this input and orders it. It's called sort. So all of these things have been sorted. You see that? Now, I can use third command called unique and say C, and then it will show you the unique words and their counts. Okay, you can see all has occurred once and so on. Correct? Now, I can again sort the outcome. And you see here it has ordered the data by this. So you can see this word has occurred 3 times. The has occurred 6 times. Okay. So I just used chain of Unix commands to create a really complex thing. I took this file, printed whatever is there in this file, small.txt, replaced space with new line, translated uppercase to lowercase, ordered the words. So this one converted the sentences into words or lines into words. And then this one made it lowercase. This one ordered the words. And then this one printed the unique counts. Okay. And then we sorted the data.
Why
Okay.
do we need to sort it twice?
So this time I'm sorting based on the counts. I want to print the ones that are at the lower.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So sorting essentially, because unique command cannot work if the data is not sorted. Okay. So unique command expects that somebody has sorted the data. Okay. So using the Unix command, you can actually do wonders. 90% of the data science you can achieve using the Unix command. Okay. And before the big things like Databricks, Apache Spark, MapReduce, all of these data engineering things came, most of the work was actually accomplished using these Unix commands. At Google or at even Disha where I worked, we did all the large scale computing using these Linux commands. Okay. And if you are writing your own code or own program, the output of this can also be sent to that one. Like, for example, if I say hello.py and I say WC, it will work with my hello.py as well. Okay. So essentially, the piping as a concept in Linux is a very, very powerful thing. It's good for all understanding of the data sciences. Natural language processing, extracting text, extracting words, and a large amount of your time will be spent in extracting data. And most of the data would always be lying in Linux. Okay, so now so this answers your question. I hope this answers your question. What's the difference between TR and SED? TR just translate a character range from one range to another. SED substitute one word with another word. Okay, or one regular expression. We'll study regular expressions, which are very powerful concept later. But you can think of regular expression as just like a pattern. When I want to match a pattern and replace it with a pattern, I represent it like a regular expression. Okay, so SED is powerful. It can do all sorts of substitutions of one with another. Okay, now the other thing is NoHub versus screen. NoHub is an old method. So when we are running something on the server and you want it to keep running in the background, even if you log out, you run the command using NoHub. Okay, so there are very interesting commands. Let's say time. What time does is it shows you how much did a particular thing took a time. Okay, when I ran ls command, it ran the ls command. Also, it showed me how much time did this command take. Okay, similarly, you can run nohub ls. Okay, so what it does is it is running ls in the background and putting the output of this into nohub.out. So instead of printing on the screen, it kept it in nohub.out. Okay, so nohub is good for the cases where even when you log out, you want the process to be running on the server, so you run with nohub. It keeps on running and keeps on doing your stuff. Now that is called nohub, and nohub basically was the old method, but what people these days do is use the screen. Now this screen is running and it will basically keep running, and you can resume if you have, let's say, multiple servers or you are running on a remote server. Even if you disconnect from the server, you can again log in and resume the screen. So using that is much more friendlier. Okay, screen command is much more friendlier. NoHub is an old one, and I hope, yes, now I answered all these questions. Now this one is left. Now, what is big endian and little endian? Okay, so basically there was always this problem of representation of new line and few more characters. Okay, again, this when you think about number system, the one that I gave you, right? That answers a lot of questions. Okay, how a text is represented as in the computer system. Okay, so you basically assign each symbol to a particular ASCII code, and you do that. But there have been different standards, big endian, little endian, and there are all these confusions the way the text is represented internally, and that's what causes that confusion. Okay, so those are basically a way of mismatch of the character representations. Somebody says, oh, new line is represented by /r, somebody says new line is represented by /n, and that's where the confusion starts. Okay, so I hope I made sense to you. A question from Rahul is, how should we managing Linux servers and endpoints in enterprise environments? Elaborate the question a little bit. What do we mean by managing?
So I can, I mean, we have some, significant number of Linux devices, like servers actually, where certain services are running. And same with the, I work for a research university, and there is always a consistent demand to use Linux devices from researchers actually. I mean, provisioning Linux directly from the vendor is not a big deal, but managing it, like what's the purpose they're using it, ensuring there is no data leakage happening and users are able to, connected to the network, they are able to, access the network resources. Those are the problematic things. And on the server side, what we are encountering is, we are finding it really hard to track the vulnerability status of those servers. We
Yeah.
don't know yet like what vulnerability exists. So we often have to go through
Yes.
and I would NIST website actually
Yeah.
to keep track the vulnerability. So we often able to fix it, but we are never able to show like all the vulnerabilities from a particular Linux devices are secure. Windows is a different ballgame. Microsoft provide like a central defender portal systems where we are able to track all the vulnerabilities in the managed environment and do certain mitigations.
Yeah.
But that same thing we are unable to do for Linux. So just thought to check with you, like what do you think?
Yeah. Yeah.
We should be
So,
managing the whole Linux environment in the
so
enterprise.
basically what people these days do is instead of providing Linux environment directly, they basically provide Dockerized images. Okay.
Yeah.
So users log in into Dockerized ones so that they don't get out and so on. I'll talk about that during the course. As well as the other thing is you can just provide them, say, notebooks, okay, and don't provide them the console, okay. Using say Zeppelin or Jupyter, you can basically avoid using too many things. Similarly, there is a I have actually taught a lot on Linux. I have actually been a good hacker at my younger age after before coming to corporate world. So I actually used to the NIST website. You'll find two of my posts there in 2000 in 2002. Yeah. So
Yeah.
and I hacked into Times of India and published that one. And and also I used to like a D Shaw. I went up and showed them that hey, I can actually hack most of your programs, and this is how you can secure it. So I basically used to run that talk to everyone across the organization where people learned to secure. Now, coming back to the point, so securing Linux server is hard, would not because it is insecure, but because it's very powerful. There are so many services, there are so many commands,
Yeah.
so many things. So with power comes the power. Okay. So
The
you can
responsibility.
actually, yeah, yeah. And I think one way is you basically can dumb it down, meaning that you can turn off lots of services, you can turn off lots of daemons and so on. And yeah, I think the other way is that you provide, say, Dockerized images, notebooks, and so on. Okay, and avoid letting them use the console directly. Similarly, minimize all the attack surface and try to keep minimum amount of daemons or services running. Yeah, but yeah, that's a pretty advanced topics for the class. Okay, all right, and yeah. Yeah, thank you, Subodh. That is another answer that you could have the managed servers on AWS. But again, the problem would remain the same. If there are multiple users and there's multiple data, it becomes an issue. Now, moving on to the next one. I hope I answered. Is everybody clear about the very? I did a really fast course here on the pipeline. Okay. Did it look very cryptic? I thought that I went slowly. Feel free to ask right now. I'm waiting.
This is clear. Sandeep, just a quick thing. Since you said that 90% of the data science, like could be done using all these Linux commands. So is there and Linux obviously, is a very vast this thing OS and a lot of commands will be there. So is there a quick kind of guide like where, all the most relevant commands for data science are there?
I think the one that we have covered in the course, those are the most common commands. Okay. But you can actually just take a look at most common Linux commands. Okay. So
Okay.
essentially, no, don't go with those ones. And I think DigitalOcean one would be okay. Um, Yeah. So you can just take a look, take a look at ls command we have talked about. And yeah.
So, so these are the most common Linux commands, but I was referring to the commands which will be relevant for us, or like, for doing all this data science or all this.
Yeah. No, I think the most important for you would be knowing filters, the grep, SED, and so on, sort command. Okay, those using them would be very important. That's why the example that I've done, the word count, please go through it one. Yeah, that is extremely important. That's there in the course. Okay. All right. Now, a question from Nista is that, can you please explain substitute this? Okay. So what it does is, let me again show you right now. Okay. Let's say I use a command called echo. What echo does is, whatever I'm telling it on the argument, right, it will just print it to the screen. Okay. Instead of sending it to me, I can send it to some other command such as word count. So it has counted that there is 1 line, 2 words, and 12 letters. Correct? Now, I mean, 12 letters, is that right? 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2. And then there is, I think, a new line or something afterwards. Okay. And if you say no new line, then it's 11. Yeah. Okay. Now, moving on. So here, we sent the output of hello world to WC, correct? And now what we want to do is, let's say we want to replace, say, H with capital H. Okay. So it has replaced H with a capital H, small h with a capital H. See that? So substitute H with capital H. Okay. Now we can also again do the same thing and say substitute L with capital L. Okay. So what happened here? I forgot this one. Yeah. So you can see hello world. It has replaced those letters. Got it? So it essentially, when I'm saying, let's say space instead of small h, I'm saying replace space and put these many underscores. So it has replaced the space with that. Okay. Similarly, I can say replace it with new line. New line is represented as /n. /n means it's a special character, /n. Okay. That is a new line. So it has replaced the space with new line. Now makes sense?
Sandeep, sorry to interrupt. Can you explain s/ as well again?
This is substitute, and then these 2 bars represent what to find, and next 2 represent what to replace it with.
What to replace with. Okay. Yep.
So find this, replace it with this.
This. Okay. So basically find a space and replace it with a new line, right? That's what you're doing.
Yes.
And what does G
means if there are like 20 spaces, replace all of them. For example, let's say I'm replacing, let's say L with capital L. Okay. If I say G, it will replace all of them. If I don't say G, it will only do once and that's
First one. Okay.
All right. So there are these kind of things that are there. Perfect. Now, moving on. Did it make sense to you?
Yep.
A question is from Sunny's. Question is, right, what is awk command and what is the use? Okay. So awk itself is like a programming language. Okay. You can do lots and lots of things, specifically when you're dealing with line by line work. Okay. So you can do word count, you can do all kinds of things just using the awk command. Okay. So I would actually just recommend you that man awk is your friend. Okay, just it itself, it's like a new language. Okay, I basically I use it from time to time. Like for example, I am looking capital L. Okay. If I
Yeah.
say G, it will replace all of them. If I don't
Yep.
say G,
Okay.
it will only do once and that's it.
First one. Okay.
All right. So there are these kind of things that are there. Perfect. Now, moving on. Did it make sense to you?
Yep.
A question is from Sunny's. Question is, right, what is awk command and what is the use? Okay. So awk itself is like a programming language. Okay. You can do lots and lots of things, specifically when you're dealing with line by line work. Okay. So you can do word count, you can do all kinds of things just using the awk command. Okay. So I would actually just recommend you that man awk is your friend. Okay. Just go through it. It's kind of a pattern scanning, a programming itself. It's like a new language. Okay. I use it from time to time. Like for example, I am looking. Give me say 7. Okay. 8. What is 8? What is 9? Oh, good. This is what I wanted. So I wanted to print the size of the name as the size of the file and the file name. That's all. Okay. That's what I wanted the awk to do. So I said print $5, that is the size, then put tab /t means tab, okay, in the double quote, and then $9. Okay. They're little advanced, but yeah, you'll get used to it. And even if you are not able to do code in awk, it's completely okay. We'll be using Python, so you don't need to learn all of these languages. You just need to be comfortable with the Linux. Okay, will be Linux and file system. Those are the two things you should need to be comfortable. Rest of the things we can do using Python. Okay. All right. So make yourself super comfortable with most of these ideas. I mean, what is important? Maybe you may not know all the commands in Linux. Maybe you do not know like everything, what every option is there in sed and awk and so on. It's completely okay. What is expected out of you is, number one, you should know where is my file. Okay, how to access my file. Like you should not get confused with the absolute file path versus relative. Should know that file path. Number two, how to run your code. Okay, those are the two things you should know very clearly. Okay, now moving. Awk is, what is awk? It was something to do. I completely have forgotten what was awk for. Okay, let me see awk. Okay, what is awk? Actual
This
name
is
of awk.
Gawk.
Yeah, it basically they have replaced awk with gawk, but the command is there. So awk full form. Is there a full form? Oh, there were these three engineers, Aho, Weinberger, and Kernighan. Okay, those who don't know Kernighan, he designed the C and also the Unix first time.
Oh,
Okay, interesting. Thank you for that question. I also got to know many things. All right. Perfect. Perfect. Any other question, everyone?
so need two questions actually. One thing, like those I mean, in Linux you can install multiple packages, right? For like for a software's application, whatever you can call it. Like how to know where are the documents for those exist and how we can access this for our own use actually to leverage the piece of code or libraries.
Usually, most of the things come with man. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you can just say man tr, man awk, you can say man vi, you can say man ls. Okay. So most of
Yep.
these commands come with the manual, and that manual is available usually in the Unix one. Okay. Also,
Mhm.
if you the other important part is, let's say you don't know where is something. Let's say Java is there, but I don't know where is this Java installed. So what I'll
Mhm.
do is I'll say
With
which Java, okay,
mhm.
and then go and check what is this Java. It says, okay, it's a link. In Linux, there is something called a link. This is
Mhm.
essentially a shortcut to this one. Okay.
Yep.
Then I go there. It says, okay, this is a shortcut to something else. Let me go there.
With
Okay.
this whole Java part. Yep.
Yeah, I'm just saying ls. Okay. And there is this thing user lib JVM Java, and I'm going to copy this one. Okay. There is no slash. All right. It says, okay, this is a file. Now you can essentially go to this directory, let's say here, okay, and then start exploring what's happening in this folder, okay? And there you will find most of the things that you need to know, okay? So you can see here, usually there is a doc folder. Usually you will find like a doc folder, and there you can start exploring. Got it?
Yep.
And that's how you can usually just debug things. Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. I hope I am not confusing people.
Yep. No. So
Okay.
that was my first question actually, and second one there was, I was trying to gain like little bit in-depth knowledge on Linux actually. So
Okay.
I mean, we have access to LinkedIn, Learnings, and some other website, but those videos are like lengthy videos. Like if you sit that 10-hour, 12 hours video lessons, you normally lose the, track how things
Yeah.
being.
This is
I'm
this
just
is
saying,
exactly why we removed all the videos from Linux tutorial. Okay. I did not want people to basically just waste their too much time watching videos because it's not natural.
yep. I mean,
So,
yeah. So what would be the best way to grab like not just I mean the knowledge. I mean, I don't want to gain the mastery, but want to have the significant knowledge. Like from my previous question, probably you can understand the focus in my company is going towards, setting a few things in the enterprise environment to ensure things are we are not only providing the services to researchers but also making things secure. So if that level of knowledge we have to gain it,
mhm,
um, where
mhm.
to visit or which books or
No, I think instead of going for a particular book, I would say that say do a bit of research saying how do the permissions in Linux work, or just take a look at say man ch mode. Okay,
okay.
my source of knowledge, I'll tell you what is my source of knowledge. My source of knowledge is um it's a very old book, but it still makes sense to me. Okay. Okay. This is the
Mm,
book by the author themselves. When they designed the Unix environment, they created it. So this will give you a perspective on the filters, commands, the permissions, the like the entire philosophy. Okay. And that gives you a very neat perspective on multiple things. Maybe there will be newer software, newer books, but this one is like the book which every author first refers to. Okay.
okay.
Though, yeah, I think going with a book is easier, or going with the internet is easier. So understand the permissioning. I would say understand the permissioning, understand the ports, and other things. We'll talk about ports. We'll talk about networking briefly when we talk about in Python. We will talk about all of those aspects. Okay.
Okay.
And yeah, keep asking questions. I think those things are going to be very useful for everybody in this class, specifically the questions from people who are from industry. It's going to be pretty useful for everybody. All right. Thank you, Hemant. Perfect. All right. Now moving on. So we talked briefly about, not briefly, we talked almost all time using the Linux. Now, I want everybody to start fiddling around with Python. Okay. Now, let me start from the basics so that everybody can, start right away today on coding the Linux part. So coding the Python part. Okay. Pretty simple. You can just click on new and Python 3. In case you don't want to use CloudxLab, you can also download, say, something called Anaconda. Okay. Anaconda is essentially a collection of tools which has all the libraries that are needed for AI and machine learning mostly, and you can install it by yourself and use it. Okay. What we have on CloudxLab is a version of Anaconda. We have modified it a little bit so that we can evaluate and integrate, we have integrated into our tool. So though that was possible only after modification, but it's mostly the standard thing. So when you open this is called a notebook. Notebook is a nicer version of the console. So here you can start writing your code, and there you go. So the moment you run the cell, it prints the output. Say I said 1 plus 2 and it printed 3. How did I do? I pressed Shift and Enter. Shift and Enter runs it. If I press Enter, it basically writes code in this. Okay. So 1 plus 2 is 3. Now, similarly, you can define variables. So you can define x equal to 10. And then you can say x plus 19, and it adds 19 with x. Okay. So this is how the variable looks like. Okay. Like you are trying to say principal equals to 1000, rate equal to 10, and time equal to 5 years. So how much will be the interest? Interest will be equal to principal rate multiplied with time divided by 100. And then you can say print interest, and there you go. Am I making sense to you? Any doubts on this particular program?
No, just on the Anaconda part, Sandeep, can we download it on Windows and then use it, or it has to be done in this Jupyter on the Linux?
No, and this works on Windows also. Okay. So what you see is it's like a extended version of a calculator. You have the variables. You can define variables. This is the name of my variable. P is a variable, R is a variable, T is a variable, and print is a function that prints. Okay. In case of this notebook, even if you don't write print, it works fine. It just print the things. Okay. All right. So is it clear to everyone? No?
So Sandeep, Anaconda include all the library, what be required on the line?
Most of them, yes. If it is not there, what you can always do is
we can install.
Pick.
We can do.
Yes, correct. Perfect. Good question. And
Sandeep, one quick question. Is Jupyter Notebooks used for production level code, or this is only to try out or find out if things work or not?
Good question. So usually the way people do is, I'll talk about this. So in more details. So when we are doing most of the work of a data scientist involve a lot of probing the data. Okay, right now the things that I'm working, I have access to the notebook. So I basically keep on probing a problem. And once I am okay and production ready, what I do is I take it out, put it in a file and run it. Like for example, okay, I have written this code and it is working fine. Let me now put it in a file. Okay, how would I do that? One way is, okay, this is the third May folder. I'm going to put it into this one. Okay. And instead of doing here, I'll just go to the console. Okay. I went to Python and where is my terminal? My terminal is here. Okay. I'm going here. Okay. I am going to 3 May. Nothing is there. I am saying nano. Okay. Interest.py. You can keep any file name you want. So I'm creating it. I went to this folder called 3rd May. Inside that folder, there was nothing else. I'm launching this text editor just like Notepad is there on Windows. I'm launching the Nano with a file name called interest. It has launched the empty one and I have pasted my work. Now the problem is it did not consider the new line. The new line definition of everybody is different, so I have to fix my code. Okay. Now, there are many things to notice here. One, in case of Python, there is no semicolon or end of statement. Okay. And let's just run it for now. I've said yes, and I'm saving. It's asking me to save the thing I pressed. So I pressed Control X and saved the. Now using the cat command in Linux, let me check if it is saved or not. It seems that this has been saved into this file. Now let me check ls. The file is there. Okay, the one that we created just now. Let me run it. Python and interest. So it worked, right? It worked. Okay. So what you see is that we were able to write our code and run it here. Okay. Now, if you do not like Jupyter Notebook basically runs something called a Python kernel underneath. And what is Python kernel? When you run just like Python here, it launches this interactive shell or interactive console where you can type the code. Okay, you can do all of this. So if I basically just copy paste this code from here to there, it would just work as is. You see that? It worked as is. Perfect. So you can see that this is the place where you can use it like a calculator, and it's pretty decent. Okay. So what we saw, first way of using Python, using the notebook. Second way, putting things into a file and running it. And then third way is using the interactive console. Okay. Usually I prefer Python console and so on. When you have to put it in production, you want to deploy it, upload onto the server, you go through the file way. If you are just exploring and trying a couple of statements, you don't know whether it will work or not. In those cases, you just launch the interactive shell and start working on it. Okay. And yeah, same thing. If you don't like that black console, you can use this Jupyter notebook. Okay. So I hope this is clear.
Sandeep, just one more question. Down the line, we're going to cover ETL process also and some of the tool of ETL, which is used for data, extraction and all.
Yeah. So essentially, ETL is nothing but program that can convert. ETL represents the extract, transform, and load. Okay. Extract, transform, and load are just basically those class of problems that require you to load the data from somewhere, transform, and load. So you will be able to write such program. So with Python, you can just write such code. And yeah, okay.
But we are we are not going to use any of the tool of ETL, right? Am I right? That understanding is correct? Through Python, we're going to be covered, right?
Yeah. Python is going to be covered, though there is a course as a complementary in this on data engineering. But the focus here is going to be how you build your own tools. Okay. Did I make sense?
Yeah, sure, Sandeep.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So we are going to code slowly everything, and yeah. All right. Yeah. A question from Vinay is, what will be covered in the next session? We'll be writing Python code. Yes. And we don't have to be installing anything. Everything is there in the CloudxLab Jupyter Notebook. One more thing I want to tell everybody, right? Those right, who are new. So Google Colab is also a good place. So you can just go to Google Colab, and the entire thing is free for you. So you can just use this one, collab.research.google.com. It also provides a similar notebook like the way CloudxLab provides. Okay, so you can just create your own notebook and then you can start using it. Okay, here also you can use the same thing, that one that we were doing. You can click on File, New, and it is creating the notebook for you. Okay, and you can basically start writing 1 + 2, and let me see if this works. Okay, so it did, right? So those so essentially you don't need to install anything per se. Here you can do all kinds of let's say you want to work on AI right away, you can just start. Okay, let's say TensorFlow, one of the things that you will be studying later in this course, you want to use TensorFlow, so you can basically just do everything. Okay, so similar to what CloudxLab did, Google also did the same thing. Okay, though we came first, but yeah, Google won this particular race. Okay, all right. So yeah, but anyway, they have done a marvelous job. So, but in case of CloudxLab, the reason we have the notebook is because all the exercises, projects, and everything are evaluated only if you're doing in the CloudxLab. Your personal work, you can do it on CloudxLab or you can do it in Google Colab. It's up to you. Okay. All right. I would want everyone to one more thing before we leave today. Okay. So here we talked about this thing. Okay. We can put like this whole logic into a function. Okay, so right now let's say I'm creating my underscore interest function. Like we use print function, right? When we call print, it prints onto the screen, it has brackets around it. Similar to that, we can create our own function. Let's say we are creating a function that takes 3 inputs, P, R, and T. Okay, and what it does, it basically returns the interest. Okay, it basically returns the interest. Okay, now so then we can call this, okay, here. Is it making sense to you?
Sandeep, what are we calculating through this code? The simple interest, right? Like
yes.
So 5%, 10% in 5 years.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. So what we did was, here we defined like a calculator that my P is this much, R is this much, T is this much. Interest is equal to P into R into T divided by 100, and we printed the interest. Now, what we did was we went one step ahead. We created our own function named myInterest. We put, these are the inputs. We define that, okay, P and R and T are three inputs that people will pass. And then we computed the interest, and that's about it. Now, I would expect everybody, right? We'll talk about functions and everything, but I would expect everybody to go to CloudxLab here, okay? And I want everybody to get started with Python, okay? In case you are finding the videos and other things to be too slow, feel free to skip. It's completely okay, right? Like Y programming. And if you start here, in case of Python, okay? If you find it too slow, you don't need this one. So you can skip the first chapter because you don't need to set up any environment. It's already set up, okay? This is all optional. Okay, now if you go into next chapter, this is again a theory one. Okay, those who are new to it, like who want to set up and so on, they might want to go through this one, but feel free, it's up to you. Okay, and then okay, let me turn on the fan on my computer. Okay, now let me move to the next one. Now again, a bit of theory, go through it. Okay, and yeah, and then again a bit of theory. Those who already know all of these aspects, you can just skip. Now this is just a basic question so that you know, we all are you know, comfortable with these ideas. Okay, then we move on. Okay, all right. Okay, this is basically the basics of you know. All right, then we move on, and these are just theoretical ones, just finish all of them. It's completely simple. Okay, and what's happening here? Okay, so these are basically theory questions, and then there are exercises from here, and you know, you should start doing these exercises. Okay,
So we have to
so
do this before tomorrow?
I mean, do
Tomorrow's
as much
class?
as you can. Do as much as you can. Okay, do as much as you can so that we have good set of questions and we talk about those questions. Let me answer before we take a break today. So as much as possible, my request to everyone would be, please finish as much as you possible. Okay, I would anyway start from very basics. So in case you are not able to finish or start anything, don't panic, but I mean, do not skip the class. No matter whether you attended previous class or not, always come to the class. Okay, I would make sure that I would not use any advanced terminology, advanced things that you will get confused about. Okay, so even if you missed previous class, always come to the class, no matter what. Okay, it's not about earning the certificate. It's more about a real skill that would help you in your career. Okay. And yeah, it's my humble request that no matter whether you understood something or not previously or you missed out, please come to the class. If you are not able to understand, the onus is also on me. Onus is not only on you. Onus is on me to figure out how to help you catch up. Okay, in case at any point of time you feel in the class or after the class that you are being left behind, ping me. I will have a one-on-one. We'll right, figure out if I need to change my ways of teaching. So feel free to reach out at every point of time. It's extremely important. And the reason these classes work is because because nobody should be, I always believe that nobody in my class should be left behind. Okay. And we work together, everybody, and don't consider it like don't sit back and watch, participate, do hands-on with me. That is my request. Even if you are left behind, ask questions. Don't assume that it's your fault you are not able to understand. It could be something that I have skipped. Okay. There is a very important question before we take a break. I'd like to answer this. Do we have signed, unsigned data types like C++? Is there any limit of the range of data type like C++? Good question. So yes, let me open the notebook. Yeah. So we said P equals to 1000, right? This is a number. Okay, this is a number. Let me see. There is a method called type, and you can check what is the type of it. It says integer. But if you say P equals, or let's say P1 equals 10.5, and then you say, what is the type of P1? It says float. So basically, there are intent float. So your suspicion is right that in Python there is the versatility of data types like C++ or C is not there. You do not have the control over that. But the newer systems which are designed over Python have the control over those data types. Okay, so Python has simplified the data types. Python has simplified the data types such that you do not have to learn too many things before getting started. Okay, so Python is not for performance. If you really want performance, you would not use Python, or you will translate Python into something. But if you want to get started or get your work done quickly, then Python is your friend. Okay, so we will start Python tomorrow from the basics. Try finishing as much as possible, and see you tomorrow at the same time. Okay.
Sandeep, before we sign off today, in fact, I have a couple of questions in the persona-based learning, if I may ask now.
Yes.
Yeah. So if we kind of generalize rather than normalize the intent of this class, because I was just going through the people responded to our chat and etc. There are majorly three dimensions. A, the group of individuals who are, when I say I would tag it as a fresher, meaning 0 to 5 years experience, they would like to launch themselves at a preliminary level of jobs. When I say I'm an AI ML engineer and etc., kind of a core doers job. Okay. B, set of individuals who are already experienced, meaning 15 plus years of experience. For them, it is, that, okay, I'm already doing something. I would like to integrate this concept in my ways of working. 3, already experienced. However, they would like to launch themselves as a mainstream application individual. For example, I'm working as a portfolio head. So technically speak, and at the same time, I'm a part of interview panel. So nobody's going to ask me, hey, what exactly this code means to me. They will be more interested in terms of what exactly the business problem I solve and the approach I would take to get job done. That's it. Now, bearing in mind this 3 or 4 persona that we have in this group, or as a mentor, as an expert, probably my suggestion to you is, can you suggest, okay, out of my entire curriculum that we will be completing in a year, what are the, okay, these are the 3 or 4 dimensions wherein group A must focus more, group B focused more, and group C. So that, for example, let's say at my level, probably I may not be investing too much time in some sort of basics or other bases. Instead, I'll be focusing on other dimensions, which will be more relevant to me. Again, this is just my version. So as a mentor or as as a trainer, what do you suggest on this piece?
Yeah. So see, I have always this problem in the class. Like no two individuals are the same. Okay. And no two individuals are the same. Everybody is from different background. But the great part is that the common denominator in every job is same. Okay. And it's extremely important that to understand that what is the core of the entire thing. Okay. The core of this course is to be able to understand how machine learning, AI, data sciences work under hood. Okay. So that whether system changes, application changes, today it's TensorFlow, tomorrow it'll be PyTorch, today it's Python, tomorrow it's something else, right? So the knowledge that you gain remains applicable throughout. Okay. Today you are in a shoes of an application engineer. Tomorrow you may be in a shoes or in a very different shoes. I'll give you a very good example. When I joined in Mobi in 2012, I joined as a tech lead, as a technology lead. And so my role was to work with data scientists and not touch anything to do with the machine learning and the entire thing. And what ends up happening was that when system did not go into production, so people were wearing different hats. Okay. In an organization, it's very common that everybody wears different hats. Okay. One person is dedicated to just designing models, doing all the things. The other one is an engineer who is building the web, the interface, this and that. And then there is an engineer who is deploying it. Okay. Now, people were wearing different hats. And there were product manager, there were this, there were that. So now the fallacy of wearing different hats is what I want to say. Now, so this person designed it, and I did the engineering, got it ready, put it in production, and then the production people threw my project out, said that, hey, your program is consuming 4 GB of RAM. Okay. It's consuming 4 GB of RAM and we cannot allow it to run. Okay. Now I go back to the data scientist and say, hey, your model is consuming so much of memory. Can you reduce it? This person goes angry and says, hey, I am not, I mean, I'm doing such a big thing. I'm processing this much data. You are not supposed to be questioning me. Instead, go and question the organization. It is right, this and that. Now, what I'm trying to pinpoint is that because of being in that hat, that I am only this, I'll only do this. What was happening is that project was not happening. Nothing was happening. I was just going in circles, chasing people. Okay. And then I said, okay, let me just read the code. Okay. I'm an engineer. I'll figure it out. And when I read through the code, it was commonsensical thing. And it was such a simple and straightforward thing. And essentially, I figured it out that it doesn't require 4 GB. You can just do it in like 20 MB or so. And that's it. And that was deployed half an hour later. Okay. Now, the key part I am saying that I do not want you or anyone in this class to think about that we are going to play a particular role. Okay. We are versatile people. You can play so many roles, right? Out of all the roles, what is the common denominator? I'm going to cover that so that you know exactly what I want everyone in this class to learn is, you know exactly what's happening underneath. Okay. And it's important to know what's happening underneath. If you go high level, right, that's not the class. So that's not going to help you. What will happen is, what will happen is, the moment the project changes, the moment team changes, the moment you go for something else, right? It becomes difficult. It becomes bad for your career. Okay. So the trick in the organization is, and this I have seen many people doing. My first student who was a Google, and he was heading engineering for a very large company. He told me, Sandeep, you know, I do all the hands-on and do everything. But in my team, I do not never tell anybody that can code and I can do everything. Okay. Now this gives me enormous amount of control. So what I want is that be very hands-on, know exactly what's going on. But don't buy into that thing that you are in particular role, you are only supposed to do that. That is only as part of roles and responsibility, not as a skill. Not as a skill. As a skill, everyone should know what's happening. Okay. And that's how I make problem solvers. My idea, like in the previous class, the same question was asked to me by the vice president of Honeywell. He's one of my students. He's like, I think he has shifted to some other CTO or CXO role to a large company. He asked me the same question. And I said, no, you are not VP, you are not this, you are not that. You are an engineer who is going to solve problem, whether through other people or through your own, but you're going to solve problem. And that's why the class that I have charted out is the common denominator. And the common denominator is that everybody should learn Python. Everybody should learn a bit of maths with me. Everybody should learn a bit of machine learning and the algorithms with me. Okay, trust me, trust me. It'll work out. Okay, it might look like it's overwhelming, but it'll work out. Okay, and if it's not working out, the onus will be on me, and I will figure out to make it work. Did I answer your question? It's a very important question what you asked.
It's partially because I do have a dissimilar view on this as well. But anyway, probably for that we'll take it later, because my version is that's a rational thinking. For example, let's take a real-time example. If there are 15 people reporting to me, if I build on top of the memory issue, usually before we go, usually do the POC, if at all, and every application, etc., based on some assumptions, right? So somebody will be roaming that risk by design. B, if at all there is an RCA, let's do the RCA instead of me scratching my head around fixing, that code. Once we do the RCA, anyway, the respective team will come to know that, hey, this is the issue. So what exactly that we would like to do? B, obviously, it's a kind of a teamwork. It's not Chandra's work or person X work. It's team's project ultimately. If at all something is, that not working as expected, obviously, that there will be a respective RACI defined across teams. So that's fine. I think this is my version. Probably, I have a couple of additional points to add on top of what you rightly suggested. So I just wanted to ensure that because we have a limited bandwidth. When I say limited bandwidth, it means that we are not only students, meaning we cannot sit for 20 hours and study. Though it is, I'm happy to invest that much time. Therefore, in order to optimize our time investment, yes, I'm totally aligned with you. Linux is important, Python is important, totally aligned with you, that's fine. But when it comes to real world application, solving the business problem, you have teams, you have business analysts, you have actual problem identified, or you'll be identifying problems proactively at that level. Therefore, for example, if someone is a 6 years individual, the person may be identifying the problem, somebody will tell that individual, hey, this is the agreed business problem that we are trying to solve. Please help us out to solve the problem.
Yeah.
So that's where exactly that I have some sort of different, rather additional points to be discussed, but we'll take it probably either with you one-on-one, because from this group, if I
This is a very, very, very important question, and I
Yeah.
think you have raised a very important question. And yes, and I have faced it many times. Okay, so again, when we say identifying the problem, okay, so I was talking to somebody. Do you know a company called Entity Data?
My friend works in Entity as a
yeah.
functional data architect.
Yeah.
So
So
I'm very well aware about it.
the person who had Entity Data from the US, okay, the guy who interacts with the customer, the guy who interacts with everybody, he's one of my students. Okay. And he was like early student, like one of my college senior and early student. And he is able to solve and interact with the customer and do everything because he understands underneath everything. Okay. And I was like very surprised when I was talking to, right, one day I just pinged him, hey, what's up? Then he explained that what he's doing. So the entire, like he's leading that business at the top. I said, why do you need to do hands-on? I asked this in 2015, 16. But why do you need to do hands-on this much? Or 2017, 2018, 2018. And then he said, Sandeep, I basically am in a situation that you never know what is the business problem. Okay. When the customer comes, they want faster car. Okay. But if you do not know that what is the limitation on creating faster car, is that even possible? You would not be able to figure out what is the business problem. It's very difficult to figure out what is the business problem. And you can only have the thought clarity if you know what is possible, how the world is happening, and what is happening. Okay. Otherwise, he told me this very clearly, and I like that answer. That if I do not do hands-on, if I'm not understanding what's going underneath, um, I will be lost in translation. I'll be lost in words that, oh, this is called embedding, that's AI. No, this is a job of machine learning. This is a data engineering. This is this is that. And I don't want to look at it from that perspective. I want to look at it that how would it be solved? What will be the various steps? And that's his secret of success. And I liked it. I liked it very much that on the prima facie, he always, portrays and thinks and talks in the customer thing. But underneath his thinking is just first principle thinking that, okay, the data will come like this. These are the tools which will do this thing. And then this will happen. This cannot be done using any of the processes because this requires, this is something that's not possible as of today using any of the AI models or so on. And here we can use embedding, he can use this, and he was like a very hands-on with this. And that was his secret. And I'm like very much inspired by him that even though being at such a top level, he kept himself just very, very clear and hands-on. He never would inform anyone that, okay, I know everything. Okay. He would know exactly what needs to be done. And those are like a couple of inspiring people. The one that I told earlier about the guy from the ex-Google guy who was previously with Yahoo and was heading is right now the CTO of a large gaming company. And this guy. So I think both of them had the same perspective. So I think first principle thinking is something that I aim to build in this course because it's very difficult to how should I say because for the management, for the general management and general verbiage, probably there are better people who can teach. But For doing the engineering, solving the things with first principle is something that I aim to do. Okay. And the things that we are spending time right now with Python and all, it is actually going to be pretty useful for everybody. Okay. As things go complex, and the things we are going to do is going to go complex, and you will appreciate the part where we are, so there are two ways to look at it. One is we are just going to be tool users. Other is we are going to be tool builders. Okay. I am here in the I'm building the people who I train, people who I build are going to be people who are going to be tool builders. They can come up with the idea of a tool. Just now we created a function. This function itself is a tool that basically we just created. And that's what we will do. Okay. So I think those are important questions, and we will focus more and more and more and more on hands-on. And because I'm looking at the industry, I'm just walking backwards from the main thing. How do I build people who can solve problems? The people like to solve problems. What is the big missing piece that is there? Big missing piece is very big missing piece is understanding of programming, understanding of machine learning. These are two big missing pieces. Okay. And as we go forward, right, and I'm interacting with so many companies these days, since I'm not trying to, I've already launched an AI consulting company. And I'm realizing that there is a need of new type of managers. There's a need of a new type of managers. And because the Infosys kind of managers are no longer required.
Indeed,
okay.
yes.
What, like the guy who I'm working with in the US, he is like McKinsey and all of that, but he still sits with me and asks me like, how would you code this? How would you get this thing done? And he interacts with businesses, but he's still hands-on. Now, and it's a very important aspect. I'm actually, more and more I'm realizing that earlier, like in India, there is one person who takes the order from the customer. If you go to a restaurant, he takes the order. The second person cooks and serves, right? At Amazon also, we had the same philosophy very beginning, that okay, this guy will be front end, this guy will be this guy will be this guy will be this. But in the end, the product would never was shipped. So we made it like, okay, in engineering, engineer owns everything. Like the idea like Amazon Prime was launched by an engineer. Okay. It was not launched by any business guy. Okay. And essentially, it might look like on a prima facie, but being being a hands-on engineer is something that I'm aiming to build, because rest of the things you'll be able to handle. That's what I know for sure, that when it comes to say high level other things, probably you would do a better job than me. Okay. So I'm the main plan I have is that everybody should get very hands-on, should not get confused with the terminologies, should not get should become like a good problem solver. That's what is needed as of today. Okay, so work with me and yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Complete your sentence.
No, I think I was just repeating the same thing. Go ahead.
No, so Sandeep, I mean, I hear you in terms of making sure that each one of us gets their hands dirty in terms of getting things done. But the second dimension to what Chandra said is that with different group, right? Broadly, these three groups, right? Their experience and their knowledge about subjects, right? Especially about Linux or Python would be different, right? So the detail or areas which needs to be covered or brushed up would be different for each of them, right? So to make sure that it doesn't, one solution doesn't solve everybody's problem, right? So if we can publish out what we're going to cover to what depth, with what should be the prep work, that would help everybody to feel comfortable in the class. I mean, you know better. You've done this million more times than I've been doing it, but I think that would help. That would also help in cases like what Chandra brought out, right? If we know what all things are going to cover, how, in what depth, then it would help plan accordingly.
Yeah. I'll give you a brief sketch the way I have run the previous batches. And I think I'm going in the same direction. I'm actually pretty happy with my previous just now, the one that I've handed over to Professor Raksha. Okay. So I'll basically do a little improvisation on that one because I really like that one. So the way I'm going to do is first first I'm going to spend a bit of time on Python, just basics. And then immediately I start doing one or two projects on AI, like the basic. So you get basic syntax clear, then you do a couple of projects in AI. Now that sounds very awkward to all of you, but it is not. Okay. One will be sentiment analysis. Okay. And second will be image okay. Second will be celebrity like me. Okay. Then yeah. So now this might look awkward, but it is not this awkward. Okay. Basic syntax, I will just talk about like the loops, variables, functions, and so on. And then I would be focused on problem solving. Okay. Problem solving in terms of like understanding complexity. What does it mean by complexity of code? Then spend more time on recursion, spend more time on algorithms and data structures. Okay. And yes, so it's extremely important because no matter who you are, it's going to make a lot of difference in your understanding of systems. Okay, it's a hands-on course. It's a very hands-on course, and we will afterwards, all right, once you are done with this, right, we will do something called, right, there is a very important aspect. It's called ancient secrets of prediction. Okay. It starts with extremely simple problems, and then it goes up to coding neural networks. So we will be coding our own neural network. Okay. And then rest of the machine learning will start. Okay. Rest of ML will start. Now, that might look haphazard, but it is not. Okay, it is not. It is a very much proven system. Okay, whereby this is something that we have created. There are a series of animations and other things. You can take a look at YouTube as well. And this is going to be the right way. And if you see almost just like every learning, there would be things that we will assume in first. We will memorize those things, and then we will learn to deep dive in those aspects, and that's how we will learn. Now here, like for example, when you do the sentiment analysis, you will assume that, okay, this is what an AI model is, and this is how we are going to use it. Okay. And then similar thing is here. Okay. And then we start with this part. Okay. So it is very unconventional, but this is the probably the best way to handle it. This is probably the best way to handle it, because I understand from my experience that even though everybody in this class, not everybody, say 95% of the people in this class have already learned Python some way. They have gone through one coding language or another. But most of the people, 95% of the people, would not be able to code up a complex algorithm. Okay. And essentially, my focus in this class is to be able to build your own models, to be able to build your own systems. Okay. That's what the agenda is. And you will be able to, I mean, it's a 1-year course. It's going to be deep dive, and we're going to go, I mean, my honest belief is that everybody has a mental capacity to learn all of this. Okay. And I mean, there is no proof anywhere that says that one person can't handle this thing. All of us are fairly smart people. We can do really complex things. It's only the vocabulary that is different for different people in the class. Okay. And so I choose the vocabulary that is unknown to all of you, and I'm going with that. And it'll be, I mean, that's the only way I can, I mean, that's the only way to learn. Okay.
So Sandeep, I have a suggestion. Is it possible to have some sort of case studies based on the personas, right? Maybe we can have a case study real time from any industry, which involves the roles like engineers, senior engineers, architect, middle management, and a kind of leading the complete group. So that collectively as a group, we are going to play different roles and able to understand at what kind of roles we are going to play for solving that problem, at what kind of skills we need. So these kind of case studies, I think, will help Chandra and Subodh as well, I think.
So that's why what I'm going to do is I'm going see the persona. It's not the persona that exists in the class. It's the persona that the course aims to build. Okay. The purpose of the course is where I want to take everyone. Okay. I want to take everyone to a stage where they should be able to solve hard problems, and they should be able to innovate in their own dimensions. Because what they are, right? Everybody has their own interest, own abilities, and so on. What they are, right? And when I add the problem solving using computing and maths, if I add that to their persona, then everybody would become really powerful in their own dimensions. Okay. And that's how I'm looking at it. And so, yes, everybody is different, but I am adding this problem-solving ability to their, set of skills. Okay. And so that they can, go aggressive in their own areas of interest, own field of work. And that's how I'm looking at it. Okay. So, and how to do that, that's what I have planned out. Okay. But yeah, but I'll keep this in mind that what kind of case studies can I involve? It's a good suggestion. And yeah, but I'll start with the projects in this one. As soon as everybody is comfortable with basics of Python, we will be able to do it. So, and in the meantime, it'll be great if everybody just goes through my courses list. Okay, just go through my courses. Okay, and in my courses, you will see the course. You will have all of this. So you'll see these two things, right? These two things. Just follow it as is, and it'll help you understand the things. I'll also put like the sentiment analysis will be done very soon, and it'll be great. I mean, when you see the end-to-end work, and you'll say, okay, right now I've just assumed that okay, this thing works and this is how it is being used, but I understand how to connect the dots, and then we dive deep into each model. Okay, it might look a little haphazard in the beginning, but it is all planned. Okay, like for example, we start here again before starting the machine learning, right? Before jumping into the machine learning, we start with the end-to-end project, and then we basically dive into individual algorithm. Okay, so this course is going to be essentially on this line. Okay, are you guys able to see the entire course?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So yeah. So this is the beginning. I want everybody to become hands-on with Python. And if you have not coded, start coding, start coming up with a problem. In case you think that a problem is hard, come up with that in class. We will, like all of the people in the class can code it together. Okay. This way, at least that problem solving of code will come up and things will move. Okay. I hope I made sense. And yeah.
Absolutely. I think you did, but I think probably after a couple of months, we'll revisit the same question. Probably that's what I suggest.
Yes. You will answer. You will
Inspect and
answer.
adapt our strategy accordingly.
Yeah.
And I'll want you to answer this question that time.
Absolutely, I will.
Okay. And yeah. And trust me, you will be able to better answer this question better than what I did just now. Okay. And yeah. So great set of questions, and thank you everyone. I would want, I mean, do not hesitate asking any question. It's okay. I'm fairly used to every kind of questions. And I went to once, like I was giving a talk to NUS, National University of Singapore. There were like 200 people, and this old woman, she started very aggressively. Okay. And when I politely understood her question and connected the dots, she did not have an answer. And she left my talk. And but every time I went to Singapore, she came to visit. Every time. And yeah.
Brilliant.
So yeah. So I think I am quite used to questions. That's the point I was trying to make. No matter what questions you have, feel free to ask. I have had like very, very hard people in my class. So I remember teaching IBM's Blue Mix architects. Blue Mix, you must be knowing, is a big thing. So they hired me for a class. That was one of the classes. So and they jumped on me, all of them. And
I agree, Sandeep, because questions integral part of our one of our job, because I am a professional trainer. I run my own consulting organization as well, apart from my full-time job. So I can certainly relate myself with the statements. Yes, it is.
And then right, and that person and all those are PhDs, most of them, and they wrote the best review for me. Okay, at IBM. And most of like 3 of them have a very successful books on Amazon. Okay, this I came to know later. So one of them heads as of today. One of the student is the CTO for a company called Kyndryl, Kyndril, and yeah. So I think what the reality is that all these questions make us better. So, and feel free to ask these questions. These questions are good. Other people would be having the same questions. It is just that they are not asking. Okay, so feel free to ask these questions. I assume, I mean, I assume a lot of things. So unless and until somebody asks a question, I won't be able to figure out that what question to answer. Okay, so I think it's a good thing. Feel free to intervene, ask, and I think I'll make sure that anything you ask, it is going to be useful for everybody. Okay, and thank you everyone for a wonderful set of questions. I'm looking forward to see you tomorrow at the same time. Okay.
Thanks, Sandeep. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.